ears. Does it sound familiar? William Shakespeare. Good afternoon, everyone. I am the delegate from Filipino Jinkai International School.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are students from Nihon Fushi University Accredited High School. In order to realize an inclusive society, we need to understand and overcome the barriers of inclusiveness. One such barrier is poverty. Today, we will examine the effect and causes of poverty on children in Japan. We will refer to children without homes, Japanese invisible children. Please not only listen, but also think about these children together with us. Today's topics are current situation, cause and effect, and what can we do. First, what is the situation in our country now? Some children are suffering from various situations and problems. Even though Japan is one of the greatest economic powers in the world, it has a high rate of poverty. According to Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, for example, 1 in 2 families is suffering from poverty in single female parent households. Surprisingly, 1 in 7 people experience disparity in race issues. It means there are approximately 2.8 million people in Japan living in poverty. This fact is near the worst level in the developed world. Let's look at the graph. The poverty rate of Japan is the 4th highest in 30 advanced countries.
Let's see the cases in the Philippines.
Okay, so Philippine poverty. According to the Asian Development Bank, 21.6% of the population is living below the poverty line. That means that they only use $1.25 every day. That is 63 Philippine peso and 135 Japanese yen. Now let's take a look at the education in the Philippines. So in 2015, 75% have completed secondary education. That means it's increasing, and that means in high school.
We have a quite different social situation and problem in the society. However, we both countries have a similar problem about children.
Topic 2. Cause and effect. So why do such children exist? It is because of parents' abuse, abandonment, illness, and lack of care. But one of the biggest reasons is related to the family environment, such as poverty. Then, how do such children live? According to the data from Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, they stay at a child institution, a child nursing home in forest, and or orphanage. Some children find the foster families and stay there for some time. It is said 15% of Japanese children who can receive the parental care are taken care by foster parents, and 85% are admitted to an infant hospital or child nursing home.
Even though all parents have responsibility for raising their children, sometimes they cannot carry this out. Why they cannot break out the cycle?
So let's go to the Philippines. So what are the causes of poverty in the Philippines? Number 1 is overpopulation. Since the poor people tend to have bigger families because they do not have proper sex education, and that is why the cycle goes on. Another is vulnerability to natural disasters. Philippines is seen near the Pacific Ocean, and that is why they are very vulnerable to natural disasters. Another is malnutrition. Because there are very many poor people in the Philippines, most of them cannot afford proper food, and that is why many of them are very malnourished. So what is the effect on these factors to the children? According to a local orphanage, they found 9 abandoned children, 34 neglected, 3 orphaned, 13 surrendered, 11 foundlings, and 3 trafficking incidents, and 3 abused. That means, all in 1 year, there are 76 children given to the orphanage.
Before you think about the solution, let's look at the survey. The survey was conducted at our school in July.
We can tell what students know about this problem from this survey. From the first question, the student thinks the most problematic issue is domestic violence. However, the fact is financial reason in Japan. The second question is that we wanted to know whether high school students have thought about supporting system or not. To our surprise, the student chose the answer government the most. Third, we asked the question, Do you know the foster family? And our school student knows about it 50-50.
Then the last question is what can you do? And most popular answers were 1. Fundraising, 2. Do volunteer work, 3. Go to boat, 4. Spread on SNS, 5. Contribute money or toys. As a result, we knew that a lot of students have a sympathy for these children, but most of them don't know the fact and cannot put an idea into action.
So let's go to the survey conducted in the Philippines. So first question that we asked is, what is the most problematic issue according to the students? And 27.45% of them answered that financial stability is the most problematic issue. So another question that we asked was, who should help these children? According to the results, 27.86% of them answered that the government should be responsible.
To conclude, how can we help present children and future children and suffering parents? How will this program go to the direction of improvement? Japan needs to more facilitate to create easy access for everyone. In addition, we should increase children's dining room and curriculum skills.
Please look at this graph. The graph shows the ratio of the prevention of child abuse budget from social nursing expenses in advanced countries. Japan is 0.02%, Germany is 0.23%, Denmark is 0.75%, Canada is 2.6%, and the US is 2.6%. So what should the government do? Many children cannot rely on their parents because of poverty. To prevent this, the government should increase budget about education for children.
So we are all very fortunate people. We have food, we have water, we have homes, we have company. However, 8% of the general population do not. So what can we do about these children?
However, what should we do if we have children like this close? As one way, high school students and college students could visit the facilities as volunteer work.
There's a thing we can do. Now, go back to our question.
What can you do? Children need your help. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, student, for University of High School. We will be using the entrance schools, student high school development. And now you have questions?
Okay.
I have a question for the student from the Philippines.
Okay.
You said that since 2015, the number of children educated increased by 75%.
Yes.
How did they do that?
The number of children being educated increased by 75% because the government implemented programs like more public schools, more scholarships, and the elementary education is you don't have to buy the tuition. High school programs also you don't have to buy the tuition. The college, however, hadn't improved that much because, of course, it's free in tuition. However, there are still additional expenses to the college students. But however, the elementary, high school, and college student poor population have improved.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, in the Philippines,
Yes.
there is a program called Curriculum Classroom.
Ah,
What
yes.
does that mean?
It was
What
written.
kind of program is that?
It was written in our presentation. Cariton Classroom is, I'm not sure, maybe it's just unique in the Philippines, but Cariton Classrooms are literal like boxes with wheels that teachers could just push through and go and put in a very poor neighborhood. And they could also put chairs and stuff like that, and that box has many books. So the poor children, can just go to that near the box and borrow some of their books and ask the teachers what they want to learn and things like that. So it's much more easier, and you do not have to waste money on You don't have to waste money on their trip to school. They just have to go to that near that box and just ask the teachers. Just refer to the books. Yes. Got any more questions? Okay.
To the Japanese students, you said, what can we do to help? You said high school students can participate and do volunteer work. Does your school do any volunteer work?
Yes, we have global volunteer club. Then we collecting pencil and clothes for children, and we collecting money for charity.
Thank you.
So, do you have any more things that you want to address our presentation?
Just a question, okay?
Okay.
What's the Japanese in Philippines?
Oh, yes.
And you pick up the problem of poverty. So would you explain more? So in your own world, what kind of situation is poverty? So with Japanese people and
Japanese people.
yeah, and from both sides. I would like to know the difference, or if there is no difference, it's okay. But if we difference, I want to know what is the poverty.
In Japan and the Philippines, it's different because we have two types of poverty. We have the absolute poverty and the the other poverty. I forgot that. But however, absolute poverty means you literally have no money at all. You don't have you only just like what I said earlier, only $1 and $1.25, things like that. And we also have the other kind of poverty where you are not really that much poor. However, you're poorer than most people in your society. That I would like to say that in the Philippines, there are most of the poor population are in absolute poverty, and some of them are just in the other kind of poverty. Meanwhile, in Japan, most of them are in the other kind of poverty, and just a little bit of the population are in absolute poverty. Because in the Philippines, most of the people suffering from poverty are receiving help from the government because they can't really have because they don't have money. Some of them aren't allowed to go to jobs because their educational attainment isn't enough, and then some of them are some of them are still beggars or stuff like that. So the government helps them by a program we would like to call 4Ps. They would give money to the poor people and things like that. However, in Japan, the people are not really poor in a way that they would literally look for scraps and anything. They're just poor in their society because they are just not in the same level, and they don't have enough money like the others. So they can still They can still live every day with the money that they have, but they're just a bit poorer than the others. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So I understand you well. Are there any kind of explanation from Japanese students about your own idea of poverty?
There are two words of poverty in Japan. One of them is, so she said, absolute poverty and relative poverty. Absolute poverty is cannot be every day, so they cannot cannot buy. They have no food, no clothes, no food, yeah, so no clothes. But their difficulty is that be able to live in common. So
on average, or
yeah.
Thank you, students from Nihon Fukushi University Affiliated High School, Philippine Education International School, General High School Department. And now that the learning session are over, we will have closing ceremony on the third floor. Please move to the third floor immediately